안녕하세요. 박지원입니다. 안녕의 뜻은 편안할 안과 편안할 영을 써서 아무 탈 없이 편안한 것이다 라는 걸 의미하죠. 하지만 올해 우리 투자자들에게는 그닥 안녕하지는 못했던 해 같습니다. 전쟁 리스크부터 공매도까지 우리 개인 투자자분들을 괴롭힌 건 한두 가지가 아니었는데요. 그래서 오늘 저희가 제 세계의 3대 투자자로 불리는 짐로저스 회장을 모시고 올 한 해 시장을 한번 쭉 정리를 해보면서 글로벌 시장은 과연 앞으로 어떻게 흘러갈지 전망해보는 시간을 함께 마련했습니다. 짐로저스 회장 모시도록 하겠습니다. Hello, Jim.
I'm delighted to be here. Good morning.
We are more delighted to have you here. So, I know a lot of people already know about you, the legendary investor, Jim Rogers, but still, could you introduce yourself to our Korean investors?
I'm just a simple person. I've been investing in markets many, many years. I like markets and I have to pay my bills. And I invest in all kinds of markets all over the world, long and short.
Yes. The reason why they call you the legendary investor is because actually you succeeded in the 10-year return, 4,200% compared to just 47% for the S&P 500 over the same period. So what was your investment philosophy that time?
Well, it's always been the same. Try to find something that's cheap, and it usually means it's ignored, where there's a change. If you can find something cheap where there's positive change taking place, you're probably going to make some money.
To find something cheap.
Just because it's cheap doesn't mean it won't stay cheap. It can stay cheap for many years. You have to have a change. Something has to be changing to make it go up.
So something has to be changing. We'll get an overview of the market if things are changing. When you open up the newspaper, we can see wars going up in Ukraine, the conflicts in the Middle East. You have went through many cycles. Get your views on the overall market. Can I get your views on your overall market nowadays?
Well, I'll use the American market since it's the biggest and the most important. The American market's been going up since 2009. That's the longest in American history that we've had a rising stock market. So we're probably coming to the end after so many years. Maybe it will last 100 years. Never has, never has. So I see signs. We see inflation. We see interest rates starting to go up. We see things that have happened before near the end of a rising market. So I would suspect that sometimes in the next year or two, it will come to an end.
American debt has ballooned to dangerous highs. And you mentioned earlier that the bubbles are in the stocks, bonds, and also in the real estates. The global economy is in hard times, but it's still filled with hopes that the Fed will actually, in a short time, pause rates soon, the rate hike soon. How do you think investors should respond to this?
Well, first of all, you should learn that the Federal Reserve doesn't know what it's doing. The central bank in America. I know that you have to report it, and because it is important, but most of the time they don't know what they're doing, and they just hope. And if you read what they have said over the past few decades, you'll find out, oh my gosh, who are these guys? They're bureaucrats. They're academics. They don't know what they're doing. So the Fed, somewhere along the line, will start raising interest rates again. And when they do, the bull market, which has lasted a very long time, will come to an end. But all bull markets come to an end. There's nothing unusual about it. Yeah, it's not the end. It's the end of the world if you're not ready. But if you're prepared, you can make money.
But if I were to take on the other side of the view, many people think the US dollar is a safe haven for historic reasons. And S&P 500 this year went up 15% on the year, and NASDAQ also like 30%. Can't this indicate that US economy is strengthening a bit?
Well, the U.S. economy had a big bad time in 2008. probably the worst time in a long time. So it's natural that after you come out of that and the government printed a lot of money and borrowed a lot of money and spent a lot of money, G1, if you give me $1 trillion, I will give you a very good time. You and I will have so much fun. Well, that's what they're doing. They have spent, borrowed, printed gigantic amounts of money like never in American history. So of course things will feel good right now, but you should be worried.
So I am worried.
Good.
If you don't see any values in the US markets, then what other countries do you see values in, and could that be Korea?
Well, of course it could be Korea. Korea is a very fascinating place. You know, for many years I never paid much attention to Korea. Didn't even like the food. I still don't like the food, but the
You don't like kimchi?
I do like fried silkworms. I love fried silkworms. Have you ever had them?
I don't think I'd
See,
tried it.
you eat kimchi. I eat fried silkworms. It's hard to find them now. Used to be able to buy them on the street,
Yeah, it does.
wrapped up in newspaper. I love them. Anyway, Korea is a wonderful place. South Korea, North Korea is not so good, but the market will do well. But it depends. Korea has to worry about its neighbors. Has to worry about the U.S., has to worry about Japan. Now, the Japanese market is a good place right now. But as I look around the world, there are not many stock markets that are cheap. Uzbekistan is cheap, but you don't know where Uzbekistan is. You know, China is cheap. Maybe if I were buying shares somewhere right now, it would be China. I know I bought shares in Uzbekistan. There are not many cheap markets anymore. But back to what I said before, the market's been going up since 2009. It's time, it's getting close to time to have a bear market again.
It's going to an end.
It
Then,
has to. It's not going to go on forever.
yeah, it does.
Nothing goes on forever, not even Korea.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But we still have to overcome the difficulties. And the Korean stock market tend to get influenced a lot to other factors, outside factors. How can Korean investors make their take on this?
If you want to be a successful investor, you don't listen to me, you don't listen to you don't listen to anybody. You just invest in what you yourself know a lot about. Everybody watching this knows a lot about something. Sports, fashion, cars, something. Stay with what you know, and that's how you will be a successful investor. Don't listen to hot tips. Please do not listen to hot tips, not even from G1.
Okay, listen to what you like and get
What you
interest.
know. Not what you like, what you know a lot about.
Okay, I'll try to keep that in mind.
Whatever it is you love, you read about it every day, you go on the internet, and you know a lot about it. You know more about it than I do, because I don't care about it, but you love it, so you will know something before I will.
On November 6th in Korea, the government took action on short selling. And as soon as the news went out, you mentioned that it's a big mistake.
Well, I apparently wasn't quite reported properly.
Oh, it wasn't?
What I said was, short selling is good for any market. It helps a market, any kind of market. What I understand that Korea was doing, they were stopping people from naked short selling. Naked short selling means if you sell something short, you borrow the shares and you sell it. But what some people were doing, apparently, was naked short selling. You know, they were just selling without owning, without borrowing anything else. That is against the rules all over the world. And from what I understand, Korea, rightly so, was stopping that. They said, you cannot do that anymore. Maybe they went too far and they said, you just cannot sell short anymore. That is a mistake, if you ask me, because selling short is good for a market, good for any market, but naked short selling should be stopped. So the Koreans were doing the right thing to stop naked short selling. But short selling is good.
Also, you predicted North Korea will be the biggest investment opportunity over the next 20 years. Do you still think the same way, or did your mind change a bit?
What I said was, once you open the 38th parallel,
Yeah.
once people can come and go, once there's no longer a state of war, the Korean Peninsula is going to be the most exciting place in the world for investing for 20 years, probably 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is. If and when they open the 38th parallel.
But it hasn't.
It hasn't yet. So be sure you understand what I said. I said, if and when, not if, when the 38th parallel is open and people can come and go, it's going to be an unbelievably exciting place. The Korean Peninsula, Hanbando. Hanbando will be an unbelievable, do you know what I said?
Yeah.
I said it right? Ha! Okay. Hanbando is going to be the most exciting place in the world for investing for 20 years or so.
Oh, okay.
But not until it opens, not until you can come and go, until the 38th parallel is open.
I'm not sure when it will open.
Well, you know, if I had my way, we would open it now. We'd have a big party. I'll buy the beer, and we'll have a very, very big party.
Hopefully one day. I wish it will get opened. With the China is going through a lot of debt and risk, and recently Moody's also downgraded the growth. What do you think of that?
Well, China had a gigantic real estate bubble, a property bubble, one of the biggest in world history, and it's popped, and that hurts everybody. When you have a big bubble and it pops, a lot of people suffer, and it was so big in China, it's going to take a while to recover. When something like that goes wrong, you don't just say, oh, okay, now we'll start over. No, so China had the property bubble, and they had the virus. You know, they had COVID, so everybody suffered for many reasons. So China went from being the strongest economy in the world to suffering for these reasons. But don't worry, it's not the end of the world. Every country has bear markets, including South Korea, including America, everybody. China is now in recovery stage. And if I were one of the few markets in the world where I am looking to buy something is China now, because it's down, it's depressed. I know your parents taught you to buy low and sell high, but China's low.
You told us to look to low things, and China could be one of the opportunities. Which sectors can we see? I know you like agriculture.
Well, there's an interesting word in China, in Mandarin, wei ji. Now, you have the same word, the same character in Korean, it turns out. The Japanese have the same character. In Japan, it's called kiki. In China, it's wei ji. But basically, the character means, disaster and opportunity are the same thing. So I've certainly learned that. We don't have that word in English, but if you can find wei ji, things like travel, tourism, agriculture, these are things that are suffering. And normally, if you find something suffering, you're going to find an opportunity if you do your research. Or maybe they can watch G1 on TV and find opportunities.
Disaster can be another opportunity.
Yes.
Okay. 2023 is near to an end. 2024 is coming up. How do you forecast the global market in 2024?
You know, we've had a long bull market in the U.S., which sets the pace for most countries, and it's coming to an end sometime in the next few weeks, few months. It has been so long. I see signs. You see interest rates going up. You see inflation going up. You see a lot of new people coming into the market, inexperienced people. You see some stocks go up every day. Apple goes up every day, you know, and it's getting fewer and fewer stocks. These are things that always happen at the end. You can go back and look at stock markets over hundreds of years. These things always happen towards the end. So I know we're getting towards the end. I know the American market has lasted longer than ever in history. So I'm glad you're worried. So everybody should watch G1 and find out what's going to happen.
I am actually very worried, but some people say that AI can help a bit boom up the stock markets. I'm curious how you think about this.
Well, I mean, it's fabulous. It's fantastic. It's going to change everything we know. It's going to put a lot of people out of business. But electricity put a lot of people out of business too. Electricity changed everything we know. So yes, A1 is great. Yes, many people will suffer, but many other people will make great fortunes. So, and I'm not smart enough. I have no technological ability. I don't know much about it. But if you can find someone who knows about A1, you should invest. And then you send me an email. Okay.
Are you still gathering much silver and gold? Because the last time I interviewed, like a year ago, you said you were still gathering some silver and gold.
I think I have right here in my pocket. Yes.
Silver?
Silver.
It's
And
real
in
silver?
fact,
Wow.
can you read Korean?
Yeah. 조선 민주주의 인민공화국 중앙은행.
It's North Korean. It's North Korean silver. Yes.
How did you get this?
I've been to North Korea twice.
Lucky.
Now
I can't.
Americans cannot go, but when it was legal, I went to North Korea a couple of times.
You're giving this to me?
No. Your sister. No. It's just a collector's item, mainly.
Okay. So one more question before we let you go. You said the upcoming disaster will be the worst in our life. Would you give any advice to our Korean investors before you leave?
Well, we've had a very long bull market in the U.S., which is the biggest, and it's coming to an end. And in 2008, we had a very serious problem because of too much debt. Gee, since 2009, the debt everywhere has skyrocketed, even Korea. Well, maybe not in North Korea, but everywhere else in the world, the debt has skyrocketed. So the next bear market, the next problem, has to be the worst in my lifetime because the debt has just skyrocketed everywhere. I don't like saying it, but I have to deal with facts because if I don't deal with facts, I'll be broke too. And I don't want to be, I've been poor. I don't want to be poor again. I know what it's like.
Poor.
So be careful because the next time it's going. Now, the good news for you, G1, is.
I have this.
No, you have to give that back. The good news, though, is it's good for you because reporters will have job security. Somebody has to report it. Somebody has to tell us what's going on. So I don't have job security, but you have job security.
If we have jobs, we need you.
All right, well, I hope I survive too.
Okay.
It's going to be very, very bad. I do warn you. So who knows who will survive? I hope I survive.
Should we then not invest in stock markets right now?
Well, I don't have many stock market investments now in December of 2023 because I see what's happening and what has happened. So I've sold a lot of things, and now I have not sold short. I have not sold short yet because I'm waiting, because the last phase of a bull market can sometimes be a skyrocket. So I'm watching to see if that happens again. In English, it's called a blow-off phase. And if we have the blow-off, that will be a good time to sell short.
Really, one last question. Is that why the Bitcoin is going so up? Like people are afraid of the market, not sure of the market, so they are moving their attention to Bitcoin?
Well, throughout history, people have come up with new and interesting things in which to invest. Sometimes they were great. Electricity was great, but sometimes they were scams. I have no investments in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. As far as I can see, there is no reason other than a trading vehicle, so I have not bought nor sold. If you're a good trader, they're great trading vehicles, and you can do it. But G1, I don't see any purpose for a cryptocurrency except as a trading vehicle. But I'm not a good trader, so you do it. I'm not.
Can you give our last words to our 매경 people, 매경 TV people?
Well, we're going to have some difficult times in the next year or so. So please watch G1, be careful, don't invest in something unless you yourself know a lot about it. Because people who understand what's going on will do great. People who don't understand what's going on will lose a lot of money. So please be very, very careful. We're going to have interesting times, but they're not going to be great for many investors in markets. So be careful.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I wore my Christmas tie just for you.
It's so sweet.
Yeah, that's a Christmas tree. Can you see?
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays to you.
It's always a pleasure to speak with you. And thank you for sharing your time again. It was a great pleasure. Thank you again.
It's my pleasure always. I hope we both survive next year and I can come back someday.
I hope so. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. And if they open the 38th parallel, you will have some money.
Okay. Then I'll get this.
You can buy the beer.
Okay. 네, 저도 짐 로저스 회장님과 함께 투자의 지혜와 통찰력을 배우는 기회가 됐는데요. 시청자 여러분도 더 나은 투자와 미래의 부를 위해서 한 걸음 더 다가가는 시간이 되셨길 바라면서 오늘 이 시간 마치도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 시청해주신 여러분 고맙습니다.